Hey guys, just wanted to bring you a quick update video on a couple of blades. I haven't brought you one in a little bit since my Rhino, which hopefully you guys have seen the videos on that. Got another Rhino in the works and a bunch more. What I've got in front of me here is just a couple of my latest and my very original, my very first. So this was my first knife. You guys probably seen the video on it if you're a subscriber. My first attempt, I just kind of winged it and came up with a design. It turned out pretty well. African Paduke handles, blue G10 liners, and so that was my very first go of it. Turned out well. I used it pretty hard. I had a request for one. Actually, I told my father I was going to make him one, and he could have whatever he wanted, and he kept saying he wants that one. So we actually made a little bit of design changes, but we're going to call this version 2. So this is also African Paduke. We've got 1/8 inch liners, also G10 instead of the 32nd inch liners on this one. Still 3/16. I did 3 lanyard tubes instead of pins. A little more shape into the handle. A little longer. I'm calling this the Bushman. As you can see, longer on the handle itself, right up into the finger choil, rather than stopping it short. Thicker on the blade itself, or sorry, thicker on the handle material itself overall. And yeah, it's turned out pretty well. Went a little more traditional on this one. Had a custom leather sheath made for it. Really good retention. Did a leather lanyard instead of the paracord that I have been doing on them. This is overall about probably a 1/2 inch longer. It's about a 1/4 inch longer on the blade and a 1/4 inch longer on the handle than the original. Give you the overall measurements on that. This is a 5 inch overall cutting surface, 10 inch overall on the knife. Again, 3/16. This is made out of 01 tool steel. I started with 1084 high carbon, and I've moved on to 01 tool steel on that, and on pretty much most of my blades that are high carbon. So that's turned out pretty well. And again, it's just my original, still kicking around. And I also decided I really like this. It was my first blade I ever made. I figured it was about time to make myself something new and kind of retire this one. Maybe I'll put it in front of a glass saying, break in case of emergency in the shop or something. So I thought that was pretty neat to get at, but I was going to move on and start fresh. So I made this. Now, this is 1/4 inch thick. I had some spare clear hole stacks that I used just for the back of this. I had a leather belt loop commissioned for this sheath that I bolted on, which I quite like. The way I had it designed, my belt loop is always in the way. I can't decide if I want to go front or back of my belt loop when I put on a knife to go to the woods. So when I designed this, I had this cut out so I can actually put my belt through the belt loop and this at the same time, so it locks the knife on my hip side to side and up and down. And I love it. I really think this design turned out great. Kind of, I guess, a hybrid type sheath. We've got leather and Kydex incorporated. We have maple burl, stabilized maple burl with polyester resin dyed blue in there. It's pretty cool. I've got a white tracer lanyard and white G10 liners. And there it is. This is my first full flat grind knife. It turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. It's hefty. Like I said, this is 1/4 inch thick stock, which, just for example here, well, you'll see that with the light, but it's beefy. Essentially, I was making a knife for myself. One of my friends and subscribers and customers had me make him a broken back CX, and it was a beast, just really massive blade. And I made it at a 1/4 inch steel. This whole knife was the cutoff from his tang, so it was essentially like only a 1/4 inch tang down the length of it, and he's doing wood handles over top. But it'll be a hidden tang, and this is what I had left as cutoff from the piece of steel we had to buy. Had to be 3 inches thick in order to get it a 1/4 inch, or 3 inches wide in order to get it 1/4 inch thick. So I had some spare steel to play with. Figured I'd make myself something. I've had this sitting around for a while. I finally sent it off to get heat treated with my last batch. So I wanted to do something kind of special for handles. I think these turned out really nice, really comfortable. I formed them quite well. I think they're fits in the hand really nice. This thing is a beast of a chopper, batoning, all that stuff. It's great. It does everything you want it to do, and really rugged. So quite like that. I've started carrying this all the time in the woods instead of my original. Didn't really need to upgrade, but my original was the first, and I've gotten better since I made the first one, so I've made enough for other people that I was happier with than my original, and I figured it was time to kind of ramp up a bit and get myself a new one. I've got another one of these being made, so another Bushman, right here, that is going to be taking, kind of like a sister knife to this, I guess, in a way. I have the maple burl handles with red resin, and I'm doing red translucent G10 liners, so that should look pretty good. And I just made these last night. This is actually buffalo horn with black G10 bolsters, and these brass dividers, I guess you'd call them, are actually 30-06 shell casings. It turned out quite well. I still got to do some more work to them, and I haven't even started the knife for it yet, to be honest, but that's going to end up being a gift, essentially. I'm going to give that to my father for hunting, and out of that same 30-06, I cut the head off of it, and I'm going to put it there. Essentially, I'm going to have a lanyard tube, a couple of small brass pins, a normal sized brass pin here in the center, and after all that's all done and stabilized and secure, I'm going to drill down a little bit into the top of the pin and then epoxy that in flush, so it won't actually be protruding, but I'm going to put that in the center of the knife. So it should be kind of cool, something different. Just trying to challenge myself a little bit more and not really play it safe with designs, but just do something I haven't done before, which, laminating this way instead of just onto the liner was a new experience for me, and I think it's turned out quite well. Really cool buffalo scale, and this is translucent gold G10 for the liner, 1/8 inch. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to bring you a bit of an update video, let you know where I'm at. I've got a few more projects on the go other than these that I hadn't broke out. Got some cool blue maple burl scales with purple G10 liners. These are going to be for a purse knife, and it's pretty cool looking. I don't have it here right this minute, but it's nice and gnarly. It's got some cool waves on the top and stuff, just something different. But yeah, go ahead and check out my Facebook page, guys. I'm also on Instagram at Northeastern Blades. I try to keep my pictures up and going and current. Try to update my website all the time best I can, but I fall behind sometimes. But my Facebook's pretty much always active, and I'm quick to answer on there too if you guys have any questions. So yeah, I appreciate you checking out the video. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll have you another video pretty soon. Thanks.